Hello again, welcome to lesson number 6. You recall that in lesson number 5, we looked at ICT in the literature review process. Today, we'll be looking at ICT. We're moving on to the methodology part of your doctoral thesis, and we're going to be looking at instrumentation. So ICT in instrumentation. I trust that you're going to have a very wonderful lesson, and towards the end of it, I'm going to walk you through a practical session on how to use ICT for developing the questionnaire, one of the instruments for your research. And then I'll give you an exercise which you will do to use that same ICT tool to develop your own questionnaire or instrument. I promise you, it will be a very enjoyable lesson. So let's get back to class. Yeah, so we're back in class, and we're looking at ICT and instrumentation in doctoral research. So what are we going to be learning in this lesson today? 5 things, 5 objectives. The first is that we're going to define instrument. Next, we'll look at the importance of instruments in doctoral research. And third, we'll list instruments that are typical for conducting doctoral research. Number 4, we'll explain the importance of ICT in the development and use of instruments for doctoral research. And number 5, which is the heart of the matter here, is that we're going to learn some practical tips in how we use ICT for developing and administering the questionnaire, which is the typical instrument that we use for doctoral research. So let's begin with objective number 1. What is an instrument? Now, we're defining it here as a device. This was a device that the researcher uses to collect data. The instrument is a device that the researcher uses to collect data. Mind how I pronounce this word, data. Some people pronounce it data, and I think it's mostly with an American slant, data. But I like to pronounce it data. And I'll tell you why. I have, and I encourage you, the doctoral students, to follow this format. Offline, you can have a dictionary or your taskbar. Let me just show it to you. So if you look at this is my taskbar. I have this one. It's a dictionary. This is the one. Okay, I already have that one. Now let's assume that I don't actually have anything here. So this is my English dictionary, and I use it quite often when I'm working on a document. I can quickly refer to it, or I want to learn the pronunciation of some English word. I'm not an Englishman, so I like to learn how the English people pronounce their words. So let's look at this word data. Now, this shows us, if I click on this, it will pronounce it. But before that, let's look at what data is. The singular is datum, the plural is data. But according to what we have here, where we know it's a noun, and it can take a singular or plural verb. In other words, you can say data are or data is. Well, this is not an English class, but so let's just go on to this. Data is factual information. Information often in the form of facts or figures obtained from experiments or surveys used as a basis for making calculations or drawing conclusions. It can be numbers, it can be texts, it can be images, it can be sounds in a form that is suitable for storage in or processing by a computer. So you can see when you use the word data, you do not just mean just figures. You can mean pictures, you can mean sounds, you can mean any kind of information that you collect as a researcher that you can process using a computer. Now, look at this. Data. So let's hear the pronunciation.
Data. Data. Data.
Yeah, so that's what it is. Now, I like to keep my dictionary at the background there, and I learned about the words. So that's it. So let's say, what is data? If you like, what are data? What is data? Both are correct. Now, data refers to the information, just like we learned from the dictionary, information that you as a researcher obtain on the subjects of your research. Any kind of information. Can be figures, it can be text, just like we learned earlier. Now, what about instrumentation? We talk about this topic is ICT in instrumentation in doctoral research. Instrumentation, the instruments and procedures used in collecting data is called instrumentation. So collectively, instruments and the procedure we refer to as implementation. Let's go instrumentation. Let's jump quickly to objective number 2. Objective number 2 is asking us the importance of an instrument. Of course, it has to be a good instrument. The instrument determines how valid or reliable the findings of your study will be. If, for instance, you use an instrument, a meter in the science lab, or an instrument like a questionnaire or achievement test, that is not reliable, then you're going to have a challenge. People will not be able to respect the findings of your study. Now, let me give you a simple demonstration. Take the matter of the reliability of the instrument. Now, if you get an instrument, either a thermometer or a weight or balance like this to take your weight, or any instrument that you use for science or for the humanities, and it's not reliable, then there's a problem. Let me use this as an example. Look at this thing that I want to use to take my weight as an instrument. If I stepped on it and it gives me a reading of 93.2 kilograms, and I step out of it, and the same instrument, the next minute, I step on it and it gives me 20 kilograms. And this same instrument, I come out of it, meanwhile, I will have recorded 93.1 or 93.2, 20 kilograms, and then I step on it again, and it gives me 120 kilograms. So I will record 120 kilograms on the table, but you can see this instrument is not reliable. It's not consistently measuring what it should measure. The same me that I've stepped on it. So it's important that the instrument you use, either a questionnaire or an instrument in the laboratory or on the field, should be reliable. So that's one important property of the instrument that you must consider, how reliable it is. Yeah, so from that short demonstration, you have been able to see that reliability of the instrument is very important. Let's go to objective number 3. Objective number 3 is about the typical instruments that we use for conducting doctoral research. For the purpose of this lesson, I've clustered them or aggregated them into 2. Instruments for scientific research and instruments for humanities research. What do I mean by humanities? We are looking at non-science, we're looking at law, we're looking at education, we're looking at sociology. So all those ones that are non-science, we've aggregated as humanities. So let's look at the recommendations that you made in your submission to me a little while ago. So your response to my inquiry on the instruments that you propose to use for your studies, this is what I got. And I will tell you how I have put them together. Now, let me make this bigger so that we can begin to see, properly. I asked that you should provide your name, your first name, surname, first name, the proposed title of a thesis or dissertation, and the instruments you intend to use to collect data. So, what we have, Nkuruziza Menos, you want to use simulation of data from a software. Ramadani Yandwi, Samples will be collected in plastic bags and then stored in fridge under 18 degrees centigrade. Ndaishimiye Richard is a questionnaire he wants to use. Ntiharizizwa Second, who is working on the rare earths mineralization of this, we want to use scientific instruments. We want to use GPS, compass, magnifying glass, geologist hammer for sampling, field notebook. Let's keep going. Peter Esther wants to use a questionnaire. Untakiyiruta Pierre, who is working on simultaneous removal of nitrogen and phosphorus by floating macrophytes, is going to conduct analysis, analyze the sample in laboratory by spectrophotometer. So the instrument is going to use spectrophotometer. Koijo is going to use questionnaire. Kubuyamana Desire is going to use GPS, camera, and maps, and so on. But I don't know whether you have noticed what I did. What I did was to divide this into two. The scientific instruments, which are put in yellow, and the humanities instruments, which are put in red. You will notice that the red coloring is more than the yellow. So many of you will be using questionnaires. You can see questionnaire, and all of that. So that is. So before we leave the table, let's look at Nzoyisubiziki Japhet. He's working on contribution to the study of the nutritional and therapeutic virtues of leaves, fruits, and seeds of Albemoscus esculentus. You know, I love this one. And we mentioned it during the virtual class. So the instruments we'll be using are atomic absorption spectrophotometer, nuclear magnetic resonance, high performance liquid chromatography, and all that. So you can see we have a range of instruments, but you can cluster them into the two that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, so the yellow, scientific research instruments, the red, humanities research instruments. Now, let's look at the scientific instruments. And I've just taken this from Japhet's list of instruments that he wants to use. An atomic absorption spectrophotometer. I mentioned all of these ones earlier. So you can see these are instruments that will be used in science. And you know, if they are not reliable, if they give errors from one measurement to the other, then the data that are collected will be, I'm sorry to use the word, useless. So let's go on to the humanities instruments. If you notice from the tables that I showed you earlier, they are mainly questionnaires, interview guides, achievement tests, and instruments for documentary analysis. Now, let's move on to objective number 4. Objective number 4 has to do with the importance of ICT in the development and use of instruments for doctoral research. Let's take the science instruments. All of them, all those science instruments, without ICT, there's no way they work because they have motherboards, they have boards, which are electronic electronic circuit boards that control the operations of the instruments. So ICT is important for all the science instruments that we use because they are the key drivers of all modern day scientific instruments. What about the humanities? The ICT tools are important for word processing. You want to develop a questionnaire, for instance, you need to type it and all of that. So, and the interview guides also, you need word processing. Achievement tests, you need word processing. And then when you have developed this, you can then send them as email to people or use the WhatsApp facility and other social communication tools to distribute your questionnaires and the instruments. Now, we are going to use a tool towards the end of this lesson for developing the questionnaire. But not to worry, we'll get there. Our objective number 5 is about the practical tips in the use of ICT for developing and administering our questionnaire. So this is where the action begins. Let me warn you that when we start the practical, you will need to, you can pause this video at any time and listen very slowly, as you know, to get into the pace of the presentation. I said that we'll be focusing on the questionnaire, and the goal of a questionnaire is to collect information that is valid, that is measuring the concept that is supposed to measure, and that is reliable. I talked about this earlier in this lesson. And that is unbiased. It measures the quantity or concept in a way that does not systematically under or overestimate the true value. So, what are the tools that I'll be using for designing and administering a questionnaire? There are several of them. SurveyMonkey is very good. Google Forms is very good. Lime Survey is very good, and several others. Of course, I use these three quite often. Lime Survey is nice. You got to pay some money at some point if you want to get some large data to be in. SurveyMonkey also. Google Forms, not that you don't have to pay anything there. So we may be looking at Google Forms in this exercise. And now the fun begins. We're going to run a practical exercise on how you use Google Forms. We're talking about ICT in instrumentation. And the instrument we are looking at today is the questionnaire. So we want to be able to see how we use that ICT tool, which is Google Forms, for developing the questionnaire. As I stated earlier, as this lesson goes on, you can pause the video or make some notes and then proceed. So let's go. Yeah, so what are the steps in developing our questionnaire using Google Forms? I'm able to see 4 steps, and we're going to walk through these 4 steps. The first step is for you to draft your questionnaire in a word processing document, and I've given Microsoft Word as an example. The second is for you to search for and load Google Form from Google. The third, you are just cutting and pasting this one from your copy and paste from the draft in your word processing software to Google Form. I'm going to give you some instructions as we go on this, as we go in the lesson, and you can just follow the instructions. The last thing is you finish developing the form, so you want to send to as many people as possible, so you just email the link to all your potential respondents. This is what I've been doing for us in this course. So let us see how we begin with our first step, developing the questionnaire in MS Word. Please note that at the end of this lesson, I'm going to ask you to develop your own questionnaire, whether you are in the science group or you are in the humanities group. Do you know why? As a researcher, as somebody with a PhD, you will end up in a big place, in a big position where you need to develop the questionnaire. So the questionnaire development practice is for all of us, and we are going to develop a questionnaire at the end of this exercise. So try to follow my procedure. For this example, I want to find out your views about this course that we are running. So this questionnaire is to seek a feedback on the course, ICT in Doctoral Studies from title to thesis. So that is the questionnaire. Now, I'm going to develop this questionnaire as we progress. The instruction is, I'm giving this as instruction. This questionnaire aims to find out how well the objectives of the course, doctoral thesis, are being met. Please provide answers to all the questions. Something like that. That's the instruction. So we are going to have 2 sections. Section A will provide what you can call demographic data. That means data about your yourself, your institution. And section B will be the assessment of the delivery of the topics, of the lessons. All right, assessment, too many S. Okay, that's it. So, the questionnaire is not complete, apparently, but you see how it goes. Name of institution, sex, male or female, the course, whether science or humanities, and I'm asking, have you had experience in online learning? Yes or no? You can include as many demographic variables or questions as you like. The second section, section B, assessment of the delivery of the lessons. Assessment of lesson 1. Now, I'm going to turn to our class site. Topic 1 is key elements of the research process in doctoral studies. I'm copying it. I'm going back to my questionnaire. That's the thing. It's not showing because it's put in black. Okay, fine. So key elements of the research process in doctoral thesis. That is the thing. So I'm going to ask assessment of the lesson. So what are the options? We can say very good, good, poor, very poor. So we can keep that one. You can use any scale that you like, but I'm just going to use this 4-point scale. That's of the lesson. Then assessment of the, we normally do discussion forum. So that can also be the same. So I'm going to copy this. I'll be pasting. I can do Control-C and be doing it at the background. So that's it. What else were we doing? Assessment, of the virtual class. Do this one on Friday. I'm pasting. Assessment of the weekly test. Excuse me, this shouldn't be there. Okay, so we have this for lesson number 1. We're going to have the same for 2, for 3, and all of that. Now, when you say assessment of lesson, very good, poor, and very poor, I can ask the respondent comments or suggestions for improvement. Suggestions for improvement. Okay, I can do that. Let me copy this. I'm doing Control-C at the background. So, suggestions for improvement for all of these aspects of our work. So, that's the kind of feedback that I will require. So, that's for lesson 1. For lesson 2, I will go back to our class site. That's ICT in the selection of the title for doctoral thesis. Yeah, that's it. I've copied it. I'm pasting it here. You are not going to see it because it's in white in the class site. So that's it. So what do you think I should do next? I should just copy everything here. Assessment of the lesson. I've copied it and I'm pouring it here. As simple as that. So let's actually do for only 2 lessons, just by way of example. So as you can see, I've completed step number 1. I've drafted my questionnaire in MS Word. We go on now to step number 2. I have to search for and load Google Form. So how do I do that? Yeah, this is also easy. Just search for your Google Chrome browser, and then let me launch Google Chrome, and just type Google Forms. Google Form. Google Forms, by the way, excuse me. There's an S there, Google Forms. So you type Google Forms, and then you can see Google Forms. Let me make this bigger. Google Forms create and analyze surveys for free. So let's go to forms or google.com here or here. All of them will give you, take you to the same site. So forms google.com. Yeah, so that's it. So it gives you this. In an event that it doesn't give you because you have not signed in into Google, you can just sign in into your Gmail account or any Google account. You can see I've signed in there already. That's why this is coming on. So that's giving me Google Forms. And what do you want to do? You want to start a new form. Getting back to our 5-step process, step number 2 is for us to just search for Google Forms and load it. That is what we have just done. So move on to step number 3. Copy and paste from draft in MS Word to Google Forms. Actually, there's an S there, and you should follow on-screen instructions in this lesson. So let's get back to Google Forms. So in Google Forms, we have this, start a new form. Let me actually also make this one slightly bigger. Yeah, so start a new form. So that's what you're going to use. Just click on this to start a new form, and it comes with this. You can see it's on title form. There's no title to it. Let me try to make it smaller. Yeah. So you got to put a title to this form. And that title is the title that you have. So what I'm going to be doing right now is just copy and paste it. So let me look for this. So this is it. So questionnaire to provide feedback on this course. That could be it's a long title, but it's fine. We can just copy it. Or, yeah, okay, fine. Let's just get back to here. So just paste it here. Paste it here. Okay, that's it. Questionnaire to provide feedback on the course, and it goes on like this. I'd like you to look at this. This one is, if you mouse over this, it will tell you what it is. It's not telling me yet, but it's about the colors. If you love purple, I think this is purple, you keep it. But if you love, yeah, as you can see, color palette. So if you want it to be reddish, if you click on this, you give us a red color. So you are free to select any color that you like. And if, for instance, you want to put some picture here, some image, it allows you. This one is image. Now me, I want to put the image of our class, of the doctoral school. So I'm clicking on this. So see what's going to happen. It's asking me for that I should select a theme. No, I'm not looking for a theme. I'm looking for a photo. So let me repeat this again. If you want to change this color, just retain the color change. You can just go and just click this. It changes the color like this. But if you want to add a picture, you have to come here and you click this picture. That's what I want. You may click any of these pictures, but I don't want those pictures. I want my own. So you can come. All of these are illustrations or pictures that you can use, but I want my own. I'll just go to upload photos. It's asking me to drag a photo here or select a photo from my computer. I'm going to select from my computer. I'm going to University of Burundi. Okay, this is the YouTube site. Let me go to this, University of Burundi. ICT course. Mast. I have some mast there for you. So you can see mast, this one here. I click on this. So it's loading the mast. And so let's wait for it. To crop this image, drag region. Okay, fine. So let me drag this like this. That's the best you can get. So let's do it like this. University of Burundi Doctoral School. So select. I click on this to select. You will see that it will change here now to the color of the, yeah, you can see it has put this one here. So if you like, you can put a logo, you can put an image, or just leave it in different colors. Now, so we have this questionnaire to provide feedback on the course, this. Okay. Form description. Form description, you can copy and paste the instruction here. So I'm going back to this one, instruction. Here, I'm copying and pasting. You see that this thing is very easy. This ICT tool in developing the instrument is very easy. I've copied it. I'm coming back to here and I am pasting. So that's it. This questionnaire aims to find out this. So question number 1, if you see, we have different sections. This one is section A, demographic section. If you like, you can label it like that. If you don't like, you can just continue to put in all of these items here. But me, I want to label the sections. I want to call this one section A, demographic. So how do I do that? I'm back here. If you look at this, I'm sorry. If you come here, this is add a question. This is add title and description. This is add an image. This is add video. This is add section. So I want to have a section. I've added the section, and that section is also copying and pasting. I've told you this thing is copying and pasting as soon as you have your draft in Word. So I'm pasting section A, demographic. Yeah, that's it. So do we need to say anything here? Maybe not. So the first question in demographics thing is name of institution. I'm copying again. At the background, I'm just doing Control C. So this is where you are going to do. You leave this. So you go to this question here. So you paste it. Name of institution. Now, one interesting thing about this Google Forms is that it gives you these options. So you can see, you say, should it be a short answer? I think it is, or a paragraph. The paragraph is usually bigger. You want to put some plenty text in it. If it's multiple choice, or if it's a checkbox or drop down, or if you want them to upload a file, or if it's a linear scale, if it's multiple choice grid, if it's tick box grid, if it's date, if it is time. My dear ladies and gentlemen, you cannot learn it all in one lesson. The trick of it is that you just learn the basic principles, and over time, practice, you begin to learn about the use of all of these features in the thing. So, name of institution, I think it's a short paragraph, so I click on this. So that's it. Name of institution, short paragraph, short answer, excuse me. Now, do you want all your respondents to be able to answer this? If the answer is yes, then you make this one compulsory. You make it required. So look at what I'm going to do. You shift this one here, you click on it, and it turns to red. When it turns to red, it means that if somebody does not provide the name of his institution or her institution, then it cannot move on. So what do we want? I want them to provide it. So what do I do next? Look at this one. This one is add a question. You can actually also see it everywhere. Let's see where. Okay, fine. So just look for where it is. This add a question. I'm adding another question to it. So it now comes up. What question do you want to add, Professor? Then I would go back to here. Sex, male or female. I've copied it, Control C, and I'm saying this. That's what I want the person to tell me. Now, what kind of answer are we expecting here? I'm expecting like a drop down, male or female, for the person to select. So you can just say, no, drop down, this one. So drop down is in option 1, is a male. Option 2 is female. All right, so that's it. So do you want them to fill male or female? I want them to fill male or female because I want to know whether the male and the men in the group or the women in the group are different in their feedbacks, which I'm going to use for the analysis. So what do? I move this one, turn it to red. So what's the next thing? You just go to add question. This thing is very easy, as I mentioned to you. The other one is course. You copy. Paste. So what do you want to select here? It's not a short answer. You want them, okay, look at the options. I say science, humanities. So you just come here. Let's take it to be drop down to. So it will be science, excuse me, science, humanities. All done. Yes. Do I want them to, is it compulsory? Do I want it to be compulsory? I say, yes, I want it to be compulsory for them to answer that. Now, let me tell you about this one. This one is if you want to delete this question. This one, if you want to duplicate it. As we go along, you find that this is going to be very useful for us. So let's go back to here. Have you had experience in online learning? Yes or no? I've copied it. So I add this one, another question. I paste it. So it's yes. Let's type. It's giving you some suggestions, but don't worry. Say yes, no. Yeah, that's fine. So do we want to make it compulsory? I think I want. So this is it. So what's the next thing? Oh, I finished with the section A. So what do I want now? Section B, which is assessment of the delivery of the lesson. So I've got to copy this. Now, by the way, as I go along, as you play this video, you can pause at any time and play back so that you keep learning as we proceed. So let me copy this and then back. As I mentioned to you, just copy and paste. Now we now have a different section. That's section B. So what do I do? Add question, no. Add title, no. Add image, no. Add video, no. See this? Add section, yes. I click on this. You now ask me on title section, I put the assessment of delivery of the lessons. All right. So I now have to, it's asking whether I need to put anything there. No, I don't need to put anything there. So I will then put in the items one by one. So add question. So I click on this and I go back to here. Assessment of lesson 1, key elements of the research process. Okay. Let me see what I'm going to do. So let's take this one. Yes. Let's take this one. I've copied it. Yeah, I've now found the need to modify my questionnaire a little bit. I have several sections. This section B will be for lesson 1, section C will be for lesson 2, section, and it goes on like that. So I'm going to now change this assessment of delivery of lesson 1. Lesson 1, key elements of the research process for doctoral studies. I've copied it, and that's it. Yeah. So what I'm going to do now, I'll copy this whole thing, and then get back to section 2. So this section is going to change. Yeah, so that's it. Now, we'll now begin with the questions. The first question is assessment of lesson. Assessment of lesson. Assessment of lesson 1. Okay, fine. So I've copied it. So I come here and I put it there, assessment of lesson. Now, please look at what we have here. Very good, good, poor, and very poor. So what we'll do, let's get back here. I want to pour it right in there. It's not multiple choice. It's not a paragraph. It can be dropped down, but it's better to be linear scale. It's better to be linear scale. So we start from very good to very poor. So let's take on linear scale. By the way, you can do it any way. It can be checkbox, it can be drop down, but linear scale will appear useful here. So it's asking us about the range 1 to 5. Let's see whether we can take a 0. Very poor, very poor. Yeah, let's say very poor to be 0, and then 5 would be very good. So 0 is very poor and 5 is very good. So it now comes in a range. So the person can stay in the middle of 3 or whatever. Or let's keep it at 1, by the way. Let's keep it at 1. So 1 is very poor and 5 is very good. The choice is yours. The choice of what to give to 1 and 5 is yours. But as you can see, 1 is the least and 5 is the highest. So you can, let's leave it like this. Although even if we change it in coding in the software for analysis, you can change this around. But let us leave it like this. Assessment of lesson this. Is it compulsory? Of course, it is compulsory. I want you to be able to tell me whether lesson 1 in the lesson itself is very poorly delivered or is very good. So the next one is suggestion for improvement. So we now come here. The next question is suggestion for improvement. A suggestion for improvement will now be like a paragraph. So let's leave this one as paragraph. It has suggested it to you. It is a very smart software. So very smart, very smart. Long answer text. Maybe we don't want a long answer. Let's just take it as a short answer. Yeah, I think that's better. We want you people to tell us suggestion for improvement. I want maybe not. Or what do you think? As if I can hear you. So I want you to tell me what I need to do to improve, so I can make it compulsory here. So more question. This other one is assessment of discussion forum. I've copied it. I paste it here. So it's the same in terms of linear scale, 1 to 5, very poor, very good. I then make it required. I then add the other one, suggestions for improvement. Excuse me. Yeah, so it is now short answer. I want to force you to suggest improvement to me. All right. So the next one is assessment of virtual class. Assessment of virtual class. So that's the one. And so we're having the linear scale, 1 to 5. What should I put here? Yes, you are very right. Very poor. And what should I put here? Very good. Okay. So compulsory, yes, it's required that you should do it. So let's take on the other question, which is suggestion for improvement. Suggestions for improvement. And that's a short answer. Yes. So I'm going to pause the video so I will complete the rest and then you will see it. Yeah, so I've completed assessment of lesson 1. I've completed all of this. So we can do not lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4. But let me teach you a shortcut where you have this duplicate thing. So this, of course, is the for the virtual class. That's the suggestion for improvement, assessment of weekly test, suggestion for improvement. Now, if, for instance, I want to repeat suggestion for improvement, all you need to do is just click on this. It will duplicate it. Or this one, for instance, if I want it duplicated, assessment of the weekly test, if I click on this, it will give me assessment of the weekly test. Or I can then change this one to assessment of discussion forum and all the rest like that. But I don't want that now. You'll be learning about that later. So we now have for my first lesson. So that's what we got. So what have we done? We have copied and pasted. And so I've copied and pasted from the drafts to Google Forms. In completing this on-screen instructions, before we now send the link to all the potential respondents. We must tidy up a few things. We must preview. Let's see how that form will look like when I send it to you or some other respondents. So what you need to do is to come up here. Come up here. What does it look like? It looks like an eye. So this is for preview. Let me make it bigger. Yeah. So it's gone the other way. Yeah. So this is the eye. Look for preview. So you can preview the questionnaire, how it will look like at the end, the other end. Questionnaire, so you can read through very carefully. Questionnaire to provide feedback on this. Okay, fine. Instruction. This is okay, fine. Next. So you click on next, and it gives this demographic. So you can see demographic data, name of institution, sex, choose, male, female. As you can see it, course. You can see it. Have you had experience online learning? Yes, no. Then you click on next. If I click on next, see what is going to happen. It's not going to let me move because I've indicated that this is a compulsory question or item. That this is compulsory, this is compulsory, this is compulsory, this is compulsory. So what do? Let me just fill in something. Sex, male, course, science. Have you had experience in online learning? Yes, I have. So next. So you can see it has now allowed me to go to section B. So assessment of the delivery of lesson 1, key elements of the research process in doctoral studies. So 1 is very poor, 5 is very good. Well, how do I rate? Maybe 4. Suggestions for improvement, you can just type your suggestions there. Assessment of the discussion forum. I think that was not too bad. Suggestions for improvement, you can type a suggestion. For assessment of the virtual class, I think I enjoyed the virtual class. Very good. Suggestions for improvement, nothing is perfect. Assessment of the weekly test. Well, I didn't do so well in the test. Let me put it like this. Suggestion for improvement, this. And then you hit submit. When you hit submit, see what's going to happen. Say your response has been recorded. It's now saying submit another response. I don't want anybody to submit another response. So what do? You go back to the original form, which is this, and then let's see now. We then have to do some interesting things. You go to here. You go to I'd like you to listen very carefully to this final phase of this. After you have checked in the preview and you found some things that you need to correct, you can correct them now. But what you must do, the last stage, ladies and gentlemen, the last stage is for you to go to these settings. You can see settings. You have to click on settings. Collect email addresses, no. Require sign-in, no. Respondents can edit after submit. See summary charts and responses. Don't bother to leave these ones. Just don't click anything here. Under general, don't click anything there. Presentation, under presentation, show progress back. Click it. Now, show respondents receive a copy of their responses. No, they don't need to do that. Shuffle other questions, so you don't need to do that. So just click on only show progress bar here. Confirmation message. You can now type in, say, thank you, dear University of Burundi doctoral student for the feedback. That's it. So let me repeat again. I'm canceling this. So you come to settings. After you have completed your form, you come to settings. The general one, make sure nothing is checked. The quizzes one, don't bother about this. Is this middle one presentation that you need to check? you can see show link to submit another response. We do not want that. So you must uncheck this. Then show progress bar, you check this, and then you type, thank you, dear University of Burundi doctoral student, for the feedback. You can give your name, Peter A. Okebukola. Recall that I have not ever asked you in this form, this questionnaire, to give me your name. The reason being that I want you to be as anonymous as possible. Anonymous as possible. So after doing this, the last step is to now click on this one, save. Click on save. So it has saved it. And then, no, not the last step. The last step for that settings. Then you go to send. This one is the very last step. Send. When you click on send, you will now ask, collect email addresses. No. I want you to click on this one. This is the one that will give you the link. Note our this thing. Send the link to all your potential respondents. Send the link. Where can you get the link? The link you can get from here. Just this one. Click on this. So this is the link. Oh, but my God, this link is very long. But the Google people are very wonderful. They have given us this shortened URL. So this is the link. So you can just say Control C to copy. You can do this. You copy it, and then you are ready to go. So let me even send it to you people as well. There. This is my. So I will get your email addresses. The link to the demonstration Google Forms containing our questionnaire. So I will just say, dear or, please find below the link to the feedback questionnaire. I'm doing all of this so that you will see it at your end. I'm pasting now, so that's the link. That's what I've been doing. You can just make it bigger. And so we search for your email addresses. Yeah, so these are your email addresses. All I just do is copy. I copy like this. And I come to, I paste those addresses there. Finish, and I say send. Yeah. So let me go to send. If you look at here, it's sending that link to all of you. So this is very nice, very, very easy step for us to follow. Yeah, so what are the steps again? 4 steps. Draft your questionnaire in MS Word. Why am I going over this? I'm going over this because I'm going to now give you an exercise to do, which you should do before Thursday and email to everybody in the class. I'm going to give you all the email addresses of members of our class so they can share the form with them and then for them to fill. First step, draft your questionnaire in MS Word. Second step, search for and load Google Forms. Third step, just copy and paste and follow the instructions that I've given to you. I suggest you play back this video, pause where you need to pause to be able to carry out the exercise, and then send the link to all your potential respondents. So what is the assignment? Yeah, so what's this assignment going to be like? The assignment is for you to continue from where I stopped. You are to construct a questionnaire to provide feedback on the course by completing the example that I've shown in the lesson. If you note, I only did demographics and I did assessment of delivery of lesson 1 for the topic 1. So I only did this. So you have to do this and the That is, you should request for feedback on topics 1 to 4. I only did topic 1. So you do for topic 2, topic 3, topic 4 of the course. And for each of them, that's for topic 1, which you have done, topic 2, topic 3, topic 4. You ask for feedback on the lesson. You ask for feedback on the discussion forum. You ask for feedback on the virtual class. And you ask for feedback on the weekly test. When you have done that, you should now email the link to the questionnaire to all members of the class. How are you going to know their email addresses? I'm going to send the email addresses to all of you. So you just use that email address to send to everybody. And each member of the class, when you receive the link from your colleague, please respond to the questionnaire, and then that will be it. When is the deadline? When is the closing date? The deadline for emailing the link to the questionnaire is Thursday, May 24. So by Thursday, please email the link. You can do it before that time. I think it's better. Email the link to all members of your class so that the members of the class can just quickly fill the form, and that will be it. So, what have we done in this lesson? This lesson, we define instrument. We define the instrument as a tool for gathering data. And we looked at the importance of instruments in your doctoral research. We also listed instruments for conducting research that's in the area of science and the area of the humanities. And then we looked at the importance of ICT in development and use of instruments. And the last thing that we did that took most of our time is that we carried out particular exercises in the use of ICT for developing and administering the questionnaire using Google Forms. Me, Peter Okebukola, have enjoyed presenting this lesson, and I'm sure that you all have also enjoyed it. Until next class, it is bye for now, and thank you.